Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Wendy Poole, and I'm the Executive Director of the Theater Project. And welcome to this virtual production of Whales and Tales. I love Whales and Tales. It was a time when I would watch the show that I would reflect on the year, think about what I accomplished, also what I would hope for the new year. And if anything, 2020 has made us all reflect, remind us of what's important, what we like, what we don't like. It's been very hard not seeing you at the Theater Project, and we are so grateful for your support, your dedication, and your love. We look forward to being back together in the building with you in 2021. I hope you enjoy the show. I'd like to thank Karen Bard and everybody who has helped out with the show, acting in it. Al Miller for always brightening our holiday season with A Child's Christmas in Wales. I hope you have a happy new year. I hope you're able to share it with people that you love, either virtually or in person. I'd like you to stay safe and be healthy and making new memories. So thank you for coming and enjoy the show.
Clan presents The Mitten. Gamma and Emma and Grandma Linda made Lily and Sophie mittens this holiday season. The mittens kept their hands warm and cozy as they played in the winter woods. But it wasn't long until one of the mittens was lost in the woods. Along came a mouse who discovered the mitten and wiggled his way in. Along came a caterpillar who scampered by the mitten and thought just the right size. Along came Spotty to investigate and decided to join in, nice and cozy. Along came a dog, Daisy, who snuggled in. Pivot, says Katie. Along came Lily and Charlie. And they said, make room, make room. And then came Sophie, who didn't want to be let out in the cold. And the mittens swelled and stretched and all made room, nice and cozy. And along came Ruby and Dad sneezed, sending the mittens out. And all the Calderwoods went in for hot chocolate.
We're good? Okay. Hi, I'm Little Cookie Lips, and I'm an elf on the shelf. Yeah. What do I like? I love Christmas.
Yeah, I'm Pinecone Shiny Berry, and I'm an elf on the shelf.
Hi, I'm Bob. I'm a 40th generation house elf, and I come from the third largest family of house elves in the world, and I'm not gonna make it the fourth. So here I am.
Training to become an elf on the shelf was pretty hard. We had to learn how to go through an entire day without blinking or letting our eyes water because of it.
I went through several courses in elf school. I got my degree. Actually, I went and I got my master's in elf studies. It was actually a really interesting course, though a lot of the time we just made cookies and practice staying very still for long periods of time.
So yes, for Christmas week and especially Christmas Day, I was just wondering, what specific locations will you be, located at Little Sue's house? Oh, okay, the shelf. Yes, that's a good location. I would like you to map out just
How I became an elf on the shelf? Well, they offered us a couple options. In the workshop with the reindeer, other types, and they said all you gotta do. This one's a little boring. You just gotta sit and watch the kitties all day. And I said that's perfect. Sign me up.
I think my proudest achievement, this one Christmas, they drew a picture of me and they got the colors wrong. But I still really liked it because Georgie was so excited for Christmas.
My proudest moment as an elf on the shelf. Okay, so we have to pick a new hiding spot each day. And one day, I decided that I would spend the whole day riding the family's dog. I managed to get onto the dog while I was sleeping, strap myself to its collar, and not even wake the dog or let it notice me throughout the entire day. It did notice me when I got off though.
After the kitties go to sleep, after the kitties go to sleep, I got a little free time, a little time to myself.
I also like to read, and in fact, one of my favorite books is this one right here. It's a classic, as well as, of course, this one, highly recommended. Of course, I can't read. I'm a house elf, so I like to just make up the stories as I go.
What do I do while the children are sleeping? Well, you see, I really love Christmas. Really love Christmas. So, when good old Papa Father Christmas himself assigned me this job, he said, Cookie, Cookie, your job is to, all the month of December, watch these children. So, not only did I listen to those directions, of course I exceeded them. So you'd best not believe that I'm taking 8 to 10 hours off a day to do what? Nothing. Let's just say an elf that ain't working ain't no elf at all. Please.
The best part, the kitties are great. I would say, yeah, the kitties, but the salary is a big one. The salary is a nice bonus.
salary? Oh, no, I don't have a salary. Wait, what? I'm supposed to?
Like my new summer Christmas outfit? No one appreciates Christmas wear in the summer.
The off-season, really it's a time for self-discovery. I like to spend my time making travel plans. I've never actually gone anywhere yet, but there's always next year.
I really love Christmas. What else do I like? Oh, Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and then I got my first house when I was 25. I was really young for an elf. Now I'm 565. I've been in the business for a long time.
What is the off-season like? Oh my goodness! Well, you've got quite the knack for humor, I must say.
You're so close. Just a little more. Oh, that's perfect, doll face. Thank you. Yeah, Merry Christmas to ya. Thanks.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree.
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves.
And a willow in a pear tree.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And an Amelia in a pear tree.
On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And an egret in a pear tree.
On the fifth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And an Ami and a chunk in a pear tree.
On the sixth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a Jerry in a pear tree.
On the seventh day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a Ralph in a pear tree.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a honey in a pear tree.
On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a Maximus in a pear tree.
On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a Nevin near a pear tree.
On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping. 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And a Nevin elf near a pear tree.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings.
Hey kiddos, only $5.95 for a golden ring tone on your cell phone for Christmas. Have a cool Yule.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
And many cats near a pear tree. You're literally rolling in catnip. You're embarrassing yourselves. I'm just saying. This is why these are outtakes. Egret, you're very classy. The rest of you, especially you, Chunk. Always you, Chunk.
Hi everybody, happy Whales and Tales. We're so glad that you're watching with us tonight. When we had advertised Whales and Tales for this year, we had said that the main event, A Child's Christmas in Wales, would be newly recorded. Due to some technical difficulties that unfortunately didn't happen this year. But we were really lucky to find a recording from 2018 of Al live on the Theater Project stage performing A Child's Christmas in Wales. So that's what you'll be seeing tonight. We're sorry that it's not a fresh recording, but we did find that when we were putting it all together, seeing that recording, watching Al on the stage, hearing the audience, remembering that it was a building full of love and laughter and joy at being together, it made us really happy. So we hope that it does the same for you too. Happy New Year to y'all. Here's to 2021 and hoping that it might bring a chance for us to be together again.
One Christmas was so much like another. In those years around the Seatown corner, now and out of all sound, lost, that I can never remember whether it snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12, or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6. All the Christmases roll down toward the two-tongued sea like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street. And they stop at the rim of the ice-edged fish-freezing waves, and I plunge my hand in the snow and bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand into that wool-white bell-tongued ball of holidays, resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea, and out come Mrs. Prothero and the firemen. It was on the afternoon of the day of Christmas Eve, and I was in Mrs. Prothero's garden, waiting for cats with her son Jim. It was snowing. It was always snowing at Christmas. December in my memory is white as Lapland, though there were no reindeer. but there were cats. Patient, cold, and callous, our hands wrapped in socks, we waited to snowball the cats. Sleek and long as jaguars, and horrible whiskered, spitting and snarling, they would slink and sidle over the white-backed garden walls, while the lakeside hunters, Jim and I, fur-capped and moccasin trappers from Hudson Bay, off Mumbles Road, would hurl our deadly snowballs at the green of their eyes. The wise cats never appeared. We were so still, Eskimo-footed Arctic marksmen in the muffling silence of the eternal snows, eternal ever since Wednesday, that we never heard Mrs. Prothero's first cry from her igloo at the bottom of the garden. Or if we heard it at all, it was to us like the far-off challenge of our enemy and prey, the neighbor's polar cat. But soon the voice grew louder. "Ah!" cried Mrs. Prothero, and she beat the dinner gong. And we ran down the garden with the snowballs in our arms toward the house, and smoke indeed was pouring out of the dining room, and the gong was bombulating, and Mrs. Prothero was announcing ruin like a town crier in Pompeii. This was better than all the cats in Wales standing on the wall in a row. We bounded into the house, laden with snowballs, and stopped at the open door of the smoke-filled room. Something was burning, all right. Perhaps it was Mr. Potter, who always slept there after midday dinner with a newspaper over his face. But he was standing in the middle of the room saying, "A fine Christmas!" and smacking at the smoke with a slipper. "Call the bells again!" cried Mrs. Prothero. "They won't be there, it's Christmas," said Mr. Prothero. There was no fire to be seen, only clouds of smoke, and Mr. Prothero standing in the middle of them, waving his slipper as though he were conducting. "Do something!" he said. So he threw all our snowballs into the smoke. I think we missed Mr. Prothero, and ran out of the house to the telephone box. "Let's call the police as well. And the ambulance. And Ernie Jenkins, he likes fires." But we only called the fire brigade. And soon the fire engine came. And 3 tall men in helmets brought a hose into the house. And Mr. Prothero got out just in time before they turned it on. Nobody could have had a noisier Christmas Eve. And when the firemen turned off the hose and were standing in the wet, smoky room, Jim's aunt, Miss Prothero, came down the stairs and peered in at them. Jim and I waited very quietly to hear what she would say to them. She said the right thing, always. She looked at the 3 tall firemen, standing among the smoke and cinders and dissolving snowballs. And she said, "Would you like anything to read?" Years and years and years ago, when I was a boy, when there were wolves in Wales, and birds the color of red flannel petticoats whisked past the harp-shaped hills, when we sang and wallowed in caves that smelled like Sunday afternoon in damp front farmhouse parlors, and chased with the jawbones of deacons, the English and the bears. Before the motor car, before the wheel, before the Duchess-faced horse, when we rode the daft and happy hills bareback. It snowed and it snowed. But here a small boy says, it snowed last year too. I made a snowman, and me brother knocked it down. I knocked me brother down. And then we had tea. That was not the same snow, I said. Our snow was not only shaken from whitewashed buckets down the sky, it came shawling out of the ground and swam and drifted out of the arms and hands and bodies of the trees. Snow grew overnight on the roofs of houses like a pure and grandfather moss, minutely white-ivied the walls, and settled on the postman just opening the gate like a dumb, numb thunderstorm of white-torn Christmas cards. We had a postman then, too, with sprinkling eyes and wind-cherried noses. On spread frozen feet, they crunched up to the doors and mittened on them manfully. But all that the children could hear was the ringing of bells. You mean the postman went rat-a-tat-tat and the doors rang? I mean the bells that the children could hear were inside them. I only hear thunder sometimes, never bells. There were church bells too. Inside them. No. In the snow-white, bat-black belfries, tugged by bishops and storks, and they rang their tidings over the bandaged town, over the frozen foam of the powder and ice cream hills, over the crackling sea. It seemed that all the churches boomed for joy under my window, and the weathercocks crew for Christmas on our fence. Get back to the postmen. They were just ordinary postmen, fond of walking and dogs and Christmas and the snow. They knocked on the door with blue knuckles. Oh, she's got a black knocker. And then they stood on the white welcome mats in the little drifted porches and huffed and puffed, making ghosts with their breath, and jogged from foot to foot like small boys waiting to go out. And then the presents. And then the presents after the Christmas box. And the postman with a rose on his button nose tingled down the tea tray slithered run of the chilly glinting hill. He went in his ice-bound boots like a man on fishmonger's slabs. He wagged his bag like a frozen camel's hump, dizzily turned the corner on one foot, and by God, he was gone. Get back to the presents. There were the useful presents, engulfing mufflers of the old coach days, and mittens made for giant sloths, zebra scarves of a silky substance like gum that could be tug-of-warred down to the galoshes, blinding tam-o'-shanters like patchwork tea cozies, and bunny-suited busbies, and balaclavas for victims of head-shrinking joy. From aunts who always wore wool next to the skin, there were mustached and rasping vests that made you wonder why the aunts had any skin left at all. And once, I got a little crocheted nose bag from an aunt now, alas, no longer whinnying with us. And pictureless books in which small boys, though warned with quotations not to, would skate on Farmer Giles' pond, and did, and drowned. And books that told me everything about the wasp, except why. Go on to the useless presents. Bags of moist and many-colored jelly babies, and a folded flag and a false nose, and a tram conductor's cap, and a machine that punched tickets and rang a bell. Never a catapult. Once by a mistake that no one could explain, a little hatchet. And a celluloid duck that made, when you pressed it, a most unduck-like sound. A meowing moo that an ambitious cat might make who wished to be a cow. And a painting book in which I could make the grass, the sky, the sea, and the animals any color I wished. And still the dazzling sky blue sheep are grazing in the red field beneath the pea green and rainbow-billed birds. Hard-boileds, toffee, fudge, and all sorts, crunches, crackles, humbugs, glaziers, marzipan, and butterwelch for the Welsh. And troops of bright tin soldiers who, if they could not fight, could always run. And snakes and families and happy ladders and easy hobby games for little engineers, complete with instructions. Oh, easy for Leonardo. And a whistle to make the dogs bark, to wake up the old man next door. Make him beat on our wall with his stick and shake our picture off the wall. And a pack of cigarettes. Put one in your mouth. You stood at the corner of the street and you waited for hours in vain for an old lady to scold you for smoking a cigarette. And when she did, young man, you shouldn't be smoking that. With a smirk, you ate it. And then it was breakfast under the balloons. Were there uncles like in our house? There are always uncles. The same uncles. And on Christmas morning, with dog-disturbing whistle and sugar fags, I would scour the Swatch town for news of the little world, and find always a dead bird by the white post office, or by the deserted swings, perhaps a robin, all but one of its fires out. Men and women waiting or scooping back from chapel with taproom noses and wind-bust cheeks huddled their stiff, black, jarring feathers against the irreligious snow. Mistletoe hung from the gas brackets in all the front parlors. There was sherry and walnuts and bottled beer and crackers by the dessert spoons, and cats in their furabouts watched the fire, and the high-heaped fire spat, all ready for the chestnuts and the mulling pokers. Some few large men sat in the front parlor without their collars. Uncles, almost certainly, trying their new cigars, holding them out judiciously at arm's length, returning them to their mouths, coughing, then holding them out again as though waiting for the explosion. Some few small aunts, not wanted in the kitchen, nor anywhere else for that matter, sat on the very edges of their chairs, poised and brittle, afraid to break like faded cups and saucers. Not many of those mornings trod the piling streets. An old man always, fawn-bowlered, yellow-gloved, and at this time of year, with spats of snow, would take his constitutional to the white bowling green and back, as he would take it, wet or fine, on Christmas Day or Doomsday. Sometimes two hale young men, big pipes blazing, no overcoats, and wind-blown scarves, would trudge unspeaking down to the forlorn sea, to work up an appetite, to blow away the fumes. Who knows? To walk into the waves until nothing of them was left but the two curling smoke clouds from their inextinguishable briars. Then I would be slapdashing home, the gravy smell of the dinners of others the bird smell, the brandy, the pudding and mince coiling up to my nostrils when out of a snow-clogged side lane would come a boy, the spit of myself, with a pink-tipped cigarette and the black pass of a black eye. I hated him on Sight and Sound, and would be about to put my dog whistle to my lips and blow him off the face of Christmas, when suddenly he put his whistle to his lips and blew so high, so stridently, so exquisitely loud that gobbling faces, their cheeks bulged with goose, pressed against their tinseled windows the whole length of the white echoing street. For dinner, we had turkey and blazing pudding. And after dinner, the uncles sat in front of the fire, loosened all buttons. Groaned a little and slept. Mothers, aunts, and sisters scuttled to and fro, bearing tureens. Auntie Dosey, who had been frightened twice already by a clockwork mouse, whimpered at the sideboard and had some elderberry wine. The dog was sick. Auntie Bessie had to have 2 aspirin. But Auntie Hannah, who liked port, stood in the middle of the snowbound backyard, singing like a big bosom thrush. I would blow up balloons to see how big they would blow up to. And when they burst, which they all did, the uncles jumped and rumbled. In the rich and heavy afternoons, the snow descending, and the uncles breathing like dolphins, I would sit among festoons and Chinese lanterns and nibble dates and try to make a model man of war following the instructions for little engineers and produce what might be mistaken for a sea-going tram car. Or I would go out, my bright new boots squeaking, into the white world to call on Jim and Dan and Jack, and pad through the deep snow, leaving huge footprints on the hidden pavement below. What would you do if you saw a hippo coming down the street? Well, I'd go like this, bang! And then I'd roll him over the railing, and I'd roll him down the hill, and then I'd tickle him behind the ear, and he'd wag his tail. What would you do if you saw 2 hippos? Iron-flanked and bellowing he-hippos clanked and battered toward us through the scudding snow as we passed Mr. Daniel's house. Let's suppose Mr. Daniel's snowballing his letter box. Let's write things in the snow. That's right. Mr. Daniel looks like a spaniel all over his lawn. Or we walked on the white shore. Can the fishes see it snowing? Now we were snowblind travelers, lost on the North Hills, and vast, dew-lapped dogs with flasks round their necks ambled and shambled up to us, baying Excelsior. We returned home through the poor streets, where only a few children fumbled with red fingers in the wheel-rutted snow and cat-called after us, their voices fading into the cries of the dock birds and the hooting of ships out in the whirling bay. And then at tea, the recovered uncles would be jolly. The ice cake loomed in the center of the table like a marble grave. Auntie Hannah laced her tea with rum because it was only once a year. Bring out the tall tales now to be told while the gaslight bubbled like a diver. Ghosts hooed in the long night when I dared not look over my shoulder. Animals lurked in the cubby beneath the stairs where the gas meter ticked. And I remember we went singing carols once when there wasn't the shaving of a moon to light the flying streets. At the end of a long road was a driveway, and we stumbled up the darkness of the drive that night, each one of us afraid, each one of us holding a stone in his hand just in case, and all of us too brave to say a word. The wind through the trees made noises as of old, and perhaps web-footed men wheezing in caves. We reached the black bulk of the house. What should we give them, Hark the Herald? No, Jim said. Good King Wenceslas. I'll count 3. 1, 2, 3. And we began to sing, our voices high and seemingly distant in the snow-felted darkness round the house that was occupied by nobody we knew. We stood close together near the dark door. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen. And then a small, dry voice, like the voice of someone who hadn't spoken for a long time, joined our singing. A small, dry, eggshell voice. On the other side of the door, a small, dry voice through the keyhole. And when we stopped running, we were outside our house. The front room was lovely. Balloons floated under hot water bottle gulping gas. Everything was good again and shone about the town. Perhaps it was trolls, Jim said. Perhaps it was ghosts, Dan said, who was always reading. Let's go inside and see if there's any jelly left, Jack said. And we did that. Always on Christmas night, there was music in the little house. An uncle played the fiddle, a cousin sang Drake's drum, and another uncle played the fiddle. It was very warm in the little house. Auntie Hannah, who had got onto the parsnip wine bottle, sang a song about bleeding hearts and death. And then another in which she said her heart was like a bird's nest. And then everybody laughed. And then I went to bed. Looking through my bedroom window, out into the unending smoke-colored snow, I could see the lights in the windows of all the other houses on our hill and hear the voices rising from them up the long, steadily falling night. I turned the gas down. I got into bed. I said some words to the close and holy darkness. And then I slept.